We're going to start our last lecture today on understanding complementary and alternative medicine. This is often referred to as CAM, C-A-M, and it's a group of diverse medical and healthcare systems, practices, and products that are not considered part of our conventional medicine. So let's look at the difference between all of these. When you're considering something that is complementary medicine, it is used alongside of conventional medicine. If you are considering it an alternative medicine, it's used in place of conventional medicine. And integrative is when you are combining conventional medicine with a variety of complementary and alternative medicine techniques. So it's pretty wide open, but you'll hear these terms, complementary, alternative, and integrative, when you look at different therapies outside of our normal system. And the main thing with these therapies is they often have a holistic approach, meaning that they treat the whole body and the mind, not just a specific problem. And they also are very preventative in nature. The book shows this picture on page 491, and it just shows you the 10 most common CAM therapies, with the number one being the use of natural products such as your herbal supplements, followed by deep breathing and meditation, and then chiropractic care and massage. And you can see the other options, with the homeopathic treatments being one of the least used. The first alternative medical system we're going to look at is traditional Chinese medicine. And what's really interesting with this one, and we're going to look at some of the therapies in a little bit, is this concept of qi. And qi is your vital energy. And the energy is just not flowing all over the place. It's flowing through energy pathways that we're going to talk about that in a little bit, and you'll see a picture of it. And when the qi is not in balance, it's not flowing through the pathways properly, the person is kind of in a state of disorder, and that's when they get sick. But when the qi is in balance and flowing properly through the pathways, the person is in a state of health. So we'll look at that a little bit more closely. So if someone is trained in Chinese medicine, that's really going to be the foundation that they would be working with. The next medical system we're going to look at is Ayurveda, which is an Indian type of medicine. So it originated obviously in ancient India, and again, it's got that holistic approach of body, mind, spirit, and it wants to restore harmony. And so this concept has 3 vital energies, or doshas, that is dominant, and they want to bring the dosha into balance, therefore reducing any type of imbalance, which means symptoms that are showing. So a lot of times this is based on dietary modifications, herbal remedies, yoga, meditation, massage, and other types of natural therapies. The next system is homeopathy, and this is based on the principle that like cures like. So basically, if you have a small dose that is very diluted of a substance that would normally produce symptoms of illness in a patient, but if you give small doses of it, it may promote the body to produce a cure. So one example, because this is kind of mind-boggling to me, would be the use of caffeine, which in high doses, caffeine is not good for your body, but someone struggling with certain illnesses, caffeine in small doses might actually help them. So, for example, with headaches, caffeine in small doses can constrict some of the blood vessels, which are creating some of the issues with those headaches. So that's one possible example. And the last one is naturopathy, which is really looking at disease as a manifestation of the body's effort to ward off impurities and harmful substances. So not only are we looking at health restoration, but we're looking at disease prevention. So when you take the approach of disease prevention, you're really going to embrace a lot of these types of therapies that we're either covering or already talked about. So we're looking at diet and functional foods, which we'll discuss, the homeopathy, acupuncture, which we're going to discuss, herbal medicines, spinal and soft tissue manipulation. So the goal here really is prevention as well as restoration. So now we're going to look at the actual practices or therapies or techniques involved in these systems. So the first is manipulative or body-based practices. These involve manipulation or movement of the body to help, whether it's to help with the symptoms or to help in disease prevention. So the first is chiropractic medicine, and this is based on the idea that the spine is really the center of what's going on in the body and allows proper energy flow. And when the spine is not properly aligned, it creates abnormal functioning within the nervous system, which then can create problems throughout the body. So when you go to a chiropractor, you're going to get your spine manipulated and moved. And so definitely, without a doubt, there is research that backs that this can be effective for back pain, neck pain, and headaches. And now there's even more diseases such as high blood pressure, where they're seeing that certain techniques can help in that area also. Also, with manipulative and body-based practices, we have massage therapy, which is soft tissue manipulation by trained therapists for healing purposes, and there's all sorts of different massages that are available. And then we have movement therapy, which is based on the idea of certain movements, kind of like retraining your body to move functionally and properly to help keep everything in balance and in line. So there's a few techniques out there. The Alexander technique is a posture-based therapy and technique. The Feldenkrais method is a mind-body re-education, basically. So you can see this pose here. It's really just retraining your body, a lot of stretching techniques to retrain your mind and your body in certain positions. And the last is Pilates, which you have heard of before, which now is kind of an exercise movement, but a lot of stretching and kind of combining that posture and mind-body re-education. Next is energy medicine. So looking at, again, going back to that traditional Chinese medicine, when you're talking about energy medicine, it's the use of energy fields such as magnetic fields or biofields. So acupuncture is when tiny needles are inserted at certain points to redirect that vital energy or qi. And this is supposed to relieve a wide variety of conditions, from muscular or skeletal dysfunction to depression to headaches to pain relief. So there's a lot of uses for it right now, and most participants in studies report high levels of satisfaction that this actually works for them, and it is now a lot of times insurance companies are starting to cover it as something that can be used in chronic pain reduction. And it's based on this idea that energy flows along these energy pathways and that certain organs are impacted by certain energy pathways. And here you can see a little chart, and these are called the meridians. So that is the main concept. When you're wondering where would they put these needles, they're really going to be at those little points, those pressure points. But there's other energy medicine. Acupressure is based on the same idea as acupuncture, but instead of inserting the needles, they apply pressure to that point. And then you could actually do your pressure point massages, which kind of even combine that. And the goal of that is for that qi to be evenly distributed. Reiki and then therapeutic touch are very similar. It's when hands are placed on or over the body to redirect or generate energy flow from one person or body part to another. And this last one, Qigong, is meditation and poses to redirect energy. Very similar to Tai Chi. Another concept is this mind-body medicine. So there are other techniques out there that you can combine into these different systems, and these are techniques that are designed to enhance the mind's capacity to affect bodily functions and promote health. So basically taking care of your mind and promoting healing starting with your mind. So deep breathing, meditation, yoga, progressive relaxation, guided imagery, the whole imagine you are in a field of flowers and, just kind of going through that. Very similar to meditation, but being guided in these imaginary situations. Hypnosis, dance, music therapy, art therapy, and prayer are also part of the different types of mind-body therapies out there. Next is dietary products. So one of the most controversial domains of CAM therapies is specially formulated foods and dietary supplements. And this whole concept of functional foods or nutraceuticals is another term that can be used interchangeably with functional foods. And it's basically saying that certain foods have pharmaceutical effects that not only are they nutritional for you, but they heal the body. And one concept with that would be the antioxidants that are chemicals within our foods, especially our plants, that combat free radicals and fight oxidation damage in cells, which we hear a lot about antioxidants with preventing cancer. Next is herbal remedies and other dietary supplements. So actually, herbs are the sources for approximately 25% of the pharmaceutical drugs used today. So those drugs that, like even aspirin, you're thinking it's just a chemical basis, but actually the original source is an herb. So scientists are continuing to make advances by studying herbal remedies, and they are natural, but this doesn't always mean that they're safe. So even though they're tested, they can still be risky, and you need to be aware of the risk. On page 499, it shows you common supplements such as echinacea, flaxseed, ginkgo biloba, ginseng, green tea, and zinc, which all have great benefits, but when we look at research, we can find that there are potential risks. So it's really important before you start a supplement to do your research and look at how much you should be taking, some of the symptoms if you're taking too much, and do you really need it? So kind of weighing that and deciding, is this something that I really need? And it's really important to note that the FDA does not approve dietary supplements. So your herbal supplements and dietary supplements can raise concerns for consumer safety. And so even some practitioners may not even understand all the potential interactions of what they're telling you to take. So you just want to make sure to, again, do your research because there's not a lot out there. And again, some doctors that are out there don't always know all that information either because it's not their specialty. So where are we going with the future of CAM therapy? So we are consuming CAM therapies in record numbers, and a lot of times we're paying out of pocket for these therapies, although some of them are starting to get covered, like chiropractic care, acupuncture. Insurance companies are starting to cover those. So nearly all health insurance providers cover at least one form of CAM. And we can look at the pros and cons of alternative treatments as we have issues, and we can get support from organizations and do our research. But again, it goes back to individuals having to take an active role in their healthcare and become educated and figure out what works for them.